in Distance Education, IGNOU, New Delhi. Our eminent speaker of the third lecture of the series, Professor P.K. Ahluwalia ji, President IAPT, others colleagues, my colleagues from SPS, JNU, IAPT, dear participant, good morning to all of you. Today, we are present here to have the third lecture of online lecture series on National Education Policy 2020, Implementation Challenges and Path Ahead, which is being organized by School of Physical Sciences, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, and Indian Association of Physics Teacher, IAPT. For the information of our chief guest and eminent speakers, so we have already organized 2 lectures in this series during last 2 Saturdays. The first lecture was delivered by Professor Majhar Asif from JNU on role of teacher in implementation of NEP for higher education, and second lecture by Professor Kannan Modgillia ji from IIT Bombay on Will NEP 2020 make science learning a real exploration? In these 2 lectures, we were fortunate to have renowned personality as our chief guest, Professor Sanjay Trivedi, Director General, IIMC, New Delhi, and Professor Alok Kumar Chakraval, Guru Ghasidas Vishwavidhyalaya, Bilaspur, who gave their presidential remark during these 2 lectures. So starting with today's event, so in the beginning, I invite Professor P.K. Ahluwalia ji, who is President of IAPT, for his welcome address and telling us about the purpose of this lecture series. Professor Ahluwalia, sir. Ahluwalia, sir.
I think some connection issues are there.
Okay. Are you able to hear me, sir?
No, sir. Actually, yes. I think there is a power cut because everything is dark on his side.
Oh. Okay. So anyhow, so we will take Professor Ahluwalia later on. So I think Dr. Pawan is ready.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I invite now Dr. Pawan Kumar Kularia from SPS JNU for the formal welcome of our chief guest, Professor S.K. Tomar, and introduce him among the participants.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I am there.
Wait करें.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Sir, Ahluwalia sir, आप start करें.
Yeah, sir, please continue.
Okay. Thank you very much. I am joining from my mobile because there was some problem in my device also. It's my pleasure to welcome Professor S.K. Tomar. It was so nice of him that he immediately recognized me, that I have met him at HRDC, Punjab University, Chandigarh refresher course. Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of IAPT, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, I welcome you. And it's our pleasure that you are today with us. I would also like to welcome our eminent speaker, one of the very active members of Indian Association of Physics Teachers, and who has done remarkably well in activating RC01. And he is an expert both in physics as well as in computers. So that's our good fortune that he will be speaking on a very, very important topic. I also welcome President of RC01, Ma'am Seema Watts. And it's a very, very nice, occasion that we have a woman president of RC01 IAPT. And that's a matter of great pride for us also. And in her team, we have a very good set of people, and among them we have great persons who are dedicated to the cause of physics, and they are doing wonderfully well here in organizing this particular program, which is in fact their program. And this is a very, very dedicated team, I must say. And dedicated team always means that the program will be a grand success. There is no doubt about that. And this is a reason that we took a kind of a plunge into organizing this particular program. It's a matter of joy to know about all these people during one of my meetings with them. I would like to really tell you that this team comprises of Dr. Surjan Singh, Vice President IAPT, Dr. S.K. Singhal, Treasurer IAPT, Dr. Yogesh Kumar, Secretary IAPT, and a wonderful host, Dr. Poonam Jain. She is the EC member of the IAPT RC1. Also, I am very happy to welcome the team from JNU, Professor Kedar Singh, Professor Manish Kumar Kashyap, Professor Ram Sagar Bishra, Dr. Rama Prasad Prajapati, Dr. Pavan Kumar Kurlia, and Dr. Vijay Kumar Goyal from School of Physical Sciences, JNU. I can only say a big thank you on behalf of Indian Association of Physics Teachers, because you are actually taking this new education policy so that people may think about it in a focused manner. And that is what is the aim of all this. We are trying to make a transition to IT mode also. And I think this program and the lectures such as that by Professor Om Prakash Sharma are the core lectures of our thought process also. So once again, Professor S.K. Tomar, Vice Chancellor, J.C. Bose University of Science and Technology, Faridabad, I welcome you. I welcome
Thank you,
Professor
sir.
Om Prakash Sharma ji and the whole team. And we are grateful to each one of you for making this a great, great event. And we are enjoying it. We are enjoying it and we are learning it. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Aluwalia sir, for your words. And you are always a constant source of inspiration for all of us. And we feel more energetic and more committed after listening your words always. So now I invite Dr. Pavan Kumar Kularia, SPS JNU. Please introduce the chief guest of the day, Professor S.K. Tomarji, in front of the participant and others.
Yeah, so good morning to all of you. And first of all, thank you, Professor Manish. So it gives me an immense pleasure to introduce today's chief guest, Professor Sushil Kumar Tomar sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of J.C. Bose University of Science and Technology, YMCA Faridabad. So Professor Tomar, before joining YMCA, he was working as a professor of mathematics at Punjab University, Chandigarh. And Professor Tomar has more than 33 years of research and teaching experience. He has done MSc, MPhil, and PhD from University of Kurukshetra. Sir has published more than 120 articles in reputed international journals and delivered 130 invited lectures. So main research interest of Professor Tomar is applied mathematics, mechanics of continuous media, fluid convention, and numerical methods. Sir is able administrator So he has worked in many administrative capacities as a chairman of Department of Applied Mathematics, Guru Jambheswar University, Hisar. He has also worked as a warden, chairman, Department of Mathematics, Center for Advanced Studies in Mathematics, Punjab University, Chandigarh. He was the coordinator of UGC's CAS program for Department of Mathematics, Punjab University, Chandigarh. He was the director of UGC SRDC, Punjab University, Chandigarh. He worked as a Dean, Student Welfare and Dean Research at Punjab University, Chandigarh. In addition to that, Professor Tomar has visited many countries, Switzerland, University of Glasgow, Canada, China, Spain. And if I will go to the list of the award, I think 2-page long list is there. So he is a eminent scholar and got many awards from the prestigious fellowship. He is the elected member of the National Academy of Sciences, India. He is the member of the International Academy of the Physical Sciences, Allahabad. And that list is very long. And sir has advised more than 8 students and registered 3 PhD scholars with him. So with this brief introduction, sir, I would like to request you to enlighten us and on the national education policy. So over to you, sir, Professor Tomar.
Thank you, sir. Professor P.K. Ahluwalia, Professor Om Prakash ji, the main speaker of today's lecture series, Professor Manish, Dr. Seema Vats, Dr. Poonam, Dr. Yogesh, Dr. Ranjan Kumar, Dr. Sarmista, and other colleagues who have joined virtually this lecture. The theme of this lecture is NEP 2020, a game changer in online teaching. See, just think for a moment, if we were away from this internet connection, what could have been the situation during the pandemic time as far as the teaching, learning is concerned? See, the conventional teaching involved the physical presence of students and the physical presence of teachers. And then there is a connection between the two minds. And that connection is not through that physical environment, but a kind of harmonious environment where the student and teachers, they have academic liking. Suppose the teacher is conveying something and student is agreeing upon it, then the teacher itself realize that I'm satisfied what I'm conveying. And at the same time, the student is happy because he is or she is getting whatever the teacher is conveying. So the connection doesn't stop here. And that comes to a different dimension. And the dimension is the closeness of liking of each other in academic areas. And then when they join hands together, like working in research, then they can do wonders. This was happening when the internet was not available, and we used to enjoy them. We enjoy this kind of association by sharing our thoughts. Teacher shares some of his life experiences to the student, and student sometimes used to share his or her experience during the study time. So that was the environment. Now, but when the pandemic came, we were not well equipped with all internet devices, but everybody was forced to learn it. And in this forced to learn it, we learned so many things. And not only in connecting the classrooms with the teachers, but so many exploration on the academic side as well. That the thing we were not clear about while teaching, we went on whatever the material was available on internet, and we tried to make the concept clear. This kind of thing, which has given new light to the student as well as to the teacher, I think will be very, very useful in the next new national education policy. And what are those components where this internet can play very important role? These are certain things like SWIM courses, MOOC courses, and the lectures which the universities, different universities will put on the platform, and the accessibility will be given to one and all. So this means that a small or a big library at small platform will be available, which was actually we were looking at the time when we were students and we were research scholars. We used to go physically to Delhi University, Roorkee University, and the other universities wherever the journals were available, and then we used to explore the articles related to our research areas. So that was not a simple task, it was cumbersome one, and a time consuming was also. But this platform, you see, is providing us the literature, the update, the new things, the new research, new knowledge in one click. So this, I think, must give an impetus to the research areas, particularly in sciences and in other areas of the education. But the main thing here, for what we are here, is to ponder upon that how to make implementation of NEP 2020 and what should be the roadmap. You know that NEP is being deliberated since last year, or maybe before the last year also, and lot of things has come up. To my mind, one thing is coming: this holistic education, starting from primary education to the research level, is a continuous process. We are deliberating different sections of this NEP. Those who are deliberating on primary education, good, they are having different vision and the different kind of modification they are looking for. And in the middle education also, and as far as the higher education is concerned, we are looking only for that what kind of the ingredients may be brought into, which will be useful in the teaching learning process, and it will give you a good kick to the research. And that's why some kind of institutions, they have been categorized like that. Some university would be purely teaching universities, some university would be the research oriented universities, and some university would be the combination of both. And similarly, a kind of thinking is also brought in NEP 2020 that the colleges would also be categorized in two categories. One is the constituent colleges, and number two is the autonomous colleges. In autonomous colleges, you know that the academic freedom would be there. The colleges will be free to involve those concepts, those contents of the syllabus which are almost at par with other good institutes. So the kind of flexibility in academic area will be given in NEP 2020 will be certainly useful to bring our academic standard on international map, and I think would be very useful for the development of the nation. As far as the human values or the value-based education, that component is considered in this NEP 2020. To my mind, certain things are coming. See, almost every ritual of our has some science behind it. And that science has not been explored so far. Had it been given an idea that the ritual, particularly maybe puja or samarpan of some water before the sun, or some agarbatti, or whatever the ritual we follow in our different occasions, I think if that kind is connected before with the science, with the roots of science, then it could have been given a good direction in bringing up the modern science today. I can recall one thing when J.C. Bose said that char achar, everything has some chetan. So that science gave a kind of revelation at that time, and such a breakthrough in the area of physics and this botanical science gave a new direction to the contemporary science, and the development took place to the new level. So the kind of rituals we have in our culture that has been incorporated in NEP 2020, and this may not be directly in the form of curriculum, but the teachers who are going to teach the subject, I think it is expected that they should connect these kinds of rituals with the modern science. I think it is J.C. Bose who was considered to be the first Indian scientist who did interdisciplinary research. And we are talking today that let us explore the science by making or by joining hand in different areas, so that the interdisciplinary research should be beneficial to the society directly. But the two sides of the research, one is applied research and the basic research. I think these two researches must go hand by hand, and the basic research always help the applied research, and the applied research always tells that what type of the basic proofs or the theorems are required to go ahead. So the both are basically very important, and the scientists should contribute in both directions, both dimensions of the research. And the NEP 2020, no doubt, the online teaching, as I told you, that we can connect from anywhere, and that connection will strengthen our knowledge, will give direction wherever we are held up in our respective research, and that will give a good impetus to the development of a research area, particularly in sciences. So with these words, I am very thankful that the IAPT and the SPS, who are organizing this lecture series, have given me the opportunity to speak and to share my views on this NEP 2020 and the game changer of the online teaching to be in the future course of action. And I think this lecture series would provide a lot of dimension of this NEP 2020, which will be beneficial, and the deliberation should go on, because this is how the people will be sensitized that how to implement the different verticals of NEP 2020, so that it should bring up the standard of education in our country to a newer height, and we can emerge as the wish guru of as the title we had earlier, and we somehow lost because of some certain reasons. So thank you very much, one and each all.
Thank you, sir, for your presidential remark. And yes, you're right. Advancement of the technology brought us more close, and one-to-one interaction become very easy. And we can think of meeting, conferences, workshops, seminars in this pandemic mode as well, and even after that. And yes, internet can play very important role in the implementation of NEP. You have given the example of SWAM courses, MOOC courses. So these can lead the implementation of NEP in a better way. And you pointed out about the colleges, two type of colleges, constituent colleges and the autonomous colleges. And autonomous colleges will be given a freedom to include the syllabus, the content of the syllabus, which is at par of the very good institution, and nobody can impose restriction of including that type of syllabus in their curriculum. And yes, value-based component is being considered in this NEP 2020. So as a whole, NEP 2020 will be beneficial for each and every individual of our country, and hopefully more deliberation we will see in our main speaker lecture as well. So thank you very much, sir. And going ahead, so let me invite now Dr. Seema Vas, President IAPT RC1 Delhi and Haryana, to formal introduce our main speaker of the day, Professor Om Prakash Sharma ji.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you so much. And thank you, Thomas, sir, for your wise words about NEP. It's an honor and my pleasure to introduce our eminent guest, Professor Om Prakash Sharma. Professor Om Prakash Sharma is an educationist who is presently working as a director of National Center for, of the director of the National Center for Innovation and Distance Education at the Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. He has been the president of Regional Council of Delhi, Haryana, Indian Association of Physics Teachers also. He has a rich experience of more than 27 years of working in the field of science popularization, science teachers training, research in science education and teaching through open distance mode using ICT technology very innovatively. He has been promoting innovation, entrepreneurship, and startup among the students of IGNOU by organizing a variety of programs for which he has been honored with several awards, including 3 national awards, 2 times by the President of India for popularizing science and technology. He has published various articles and authored several books, of which he has the popular magazine Vigyan Aapke Liye and another magazine Innovative India, which is being launched by him. And I must mention about Professor Om Prakash Sharma that he has a knack of introducing and recognizing the talent of people. He has induced so many members in our IAPT while he was a president. I am also one of them. Dr. Poonam, Dr. Yogesh are the result of Opep Sharma sir only. So we welcome you, sir. Kindly enrich us with your talk.
Thank you, Dr. Seema ji. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor S.K. Tomar ji, Chief Guest of today's program. Professor P.K. Ahluwalia ji, President of Indian Association of Physics Teachers. Professor Kedar Singh, Dean SPS JNU, Professor Manish Kashyap ji, convener of this series of JNU and IAPT, which is being organized jointly. My RC's President, Dr. Seema Sharma, Dr. Yogesh ji, Dr. Poonam ji, and all the esteemed dignitaries, guests and participants. Good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank IAPT and the SPS of GNU to give me this opportunity to share my thoughts on NEP in context with the technology and online learning. And I would like to commend and compliment both these organizations to organize a series of such important lectures on a very important topic, NEP, and related different aspects, covering all the things related to science education, technology, and other things, whatever in 7 lectures are going to organize. Really, it is a wonderful event. I think it will give very insight into the aspects and issues which we all can collectively do for a proper and rightful implementation of the national education policy. All of you know that national education policy is a game changer not only in the field of online education. In fact, it is a game changer in the entire education system. Entire education system, it is going to revamp the education system in India. What Professor Tomar was mentioning, the Indian values, Indian richness, culture. So this policy is basically going to bring those all those our richness which we have forgotten, which we have missed somewhere. I think with the implementation of this NEP, our Bharatiya and the rich culture is going to revive, and then we will not be the simply follower. We will be something giver of the knowledge to the world, and that we have been always. So I hope we will bring our glory back, and that is one of the objective of this NEP also. And in bringing the glory of our Indian culture, I think technology is going to play a very great role, because now without technology, we cannot move in any sector. And education, we have seen during the last few years, the education has seen so many technological interventions. And I hope you might have gone through the NEP document. Full-fledged 2 chapters have been given on technological aspects and online learning in the National Education Policy 2020. And in addition to that, you will see almost in the entire document, the policy is talking about the innovation, creativity, technological interventions. So that way, this technology is going to play a very important role in this entire implementation of the NEP. I'll be sharing my PPT. So with that, I will move further. Host disabled participant screen sharing. Kindly allow me to share my screen.
Okay, sir.
Manish sir, you are the host now. Please provide the rights. Sir, please now try it out. OP sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can see, but make it a full screen view.
I have made it, it is full screen on my side.
Okay, try to move the slides.
Yes.
No, we cannot see movement.
So can you go to the blue tab? And make it full slide.
Sir, you may go to the Alt F5 as well. Sir has stopped sharing.
Yes.
I think sir has left the meeting as well.
You're right. You're right. I cannot see him in the participant list.
Yes. Maybe some issue with the device.
Maybe.
Manisha, can you call him?
Yeah, I tried to call, but he cut the phone.
Maybe he's trying with the phone. That's
Exactly.
why. Apology for this delay. Our speaker has some network glitch or maybe some issue with the device. Thank you all the participants to be here with us. Your patience is highly appreciated. Sir has joined the meeting. Sir, kindly make him.
Yes, yes, I'm making.
host. Please.
Sir, you are on mute.
Yes, I have connected with another device. In fact, I'm just making it.
Okay, now you can share your screen, sir.
Yes. कहाँ है वो?
Desktop पर ही है. शेयर स्क्रीन शेयर करो. अभी डेस्कटॉप पर जाओ.
कहाँ?
Sir, your presentation is getting open. We can see.
I'm just doing.
Yes. Sir.
It's opening.
I can see only 9% opened.
Sir, do you have the PDF of the PPT? Then it will be easy to present.
It's there. Yes, please click on enable editing as well.
Yes, I'm doing. I'm sorry.
Good now.
I think it's now visible.
Yes, of course.
Yes, sir.
This is a technological limitations, we can say. So I'm sorry, really. I was just talking about the national education policy, how technological interventions are changing the entire education system that I was discussing. And the limitations and challenge is also one of the important aspect which we all have to address, and that is one of the key focus of the NEP. I think unless that is taken care, the entire thing may not be possible as what we are thinking. So I would like to just discuss in a brief the relevance of online learning in Indian context that we have seen with the increased use of technology in education sector, how much we have been using the digital education and online learning, and also we have seen the use of technology basically integrated with our classroom teaching in day-to-day life for many years, that we have seen use of video programs, use of smart classes, smart boards, that is being done in many classes even before the pandemic. And we can see a lot of opportunities in the online learning. When we talk about online learning in Indian context, then we find that there are very important uses and opportunities if we start using the online education and online learning. One of the important thing is bridging the learning divide. We know that in many places the schools are not there, colleges are not there, facilities are not there, infrastructure is not there, but still we want to teach them. So can we think of bringing some that interventions by the use of technology to bridge the learning divide, and that eliminate the inequalities of education sector. Another important opportunity could be the increasing the access of education. In fact, the NEP 2020 also envisions the increase in the gross enrollment ratio at all these levels, particularly in higher education. It thinks of 50% gross enrollment ratio by 2035. And if we think that it could be done with the help of formal classroom setting, it's not possible. For that purpose, I think this online education and digital education will play a very important role, and we see opportunities in this case. Mitigating the effect of pandemic is also important opportunity which we see in the online learning and digital education, because we all have seen the pandemic has affected the entire education field, right from the school to higher education level. And during the 2 years only, it was the online education which helped us in remaining in touch with our teachers, continuing studies, and all those learnings. So the effect of pandemic is likely to be mitigated, and it will help in that context. And Professor Tomar was also mentioning about that enhancing the flexibility. Flexibility is a very important aspect of any education sector. So if we talk about the online learning, then we expect that flexibility is likely to be increased. It is likely to be learner-centric, more learner-centric. Promoting startups in the tech sector, this is also a great opportunity that we can look forward by use of online learning and digital education, because we have seen during the last 2 years, a number of startups have come, number of companies have come with very innovative apps and softwares and applications. They are helping the student, they are helping the teachers. Even this present meeting which we are having, this is also with the help of a startup, with the help of a app which is helping us. If you recall the initial days when these online meetings were started 2 years back, Zoom was also not having that kind of facilities, that kind of features. But when they saw that this is the need of the people, this is the need of the hour, student need, teachers need, they need to be connected, they need to be taught, they need to be shared their presentation, other features. So accordingly, they brought those all factors and features in their apps. Likewise, many other apps have been developed. Indian government is also planning to develop, and in fact, they have developed some of the apps. They are in experimental phases, so that the India can have their own secure and private apps. We may not be depending on others. So these are the few opportunities which we look when we talk about the online education, and we all have by now understood that online education and digital education is going to play very great role in the education sector. And if we say that it is going to be a game changer, then I think will not be a very big thing. It is certainly going to game changer. If we look at the situation before and after the COVID-19 pandemic, then you will notice that before pandemic, there were only a few educational institutes, they were using these online classes. These apps, even the Joops, Google Meet, and other apps, I think most of us were not aware of. Even those who were working in the field of ICT sector, using information technology in education sector, they were also afraid of using these applications for in their day-to-day. If we were talking about some virtual conference in some foreign countries, then we were thinking twice and thrice that we should join it or not, but not joining. But now, after this COVID pandemic, we all have learned how to use this, and we are learning at our own. That's a great thing, because that was a challenge, that was a great problem. We did not have any other option there. We did not have any other help also who could help us on understanding the process of these all online applications and software. We all learned at our own. In only a few cases, few training programs were organized. And you might have seen that as per a UNESCO report, almost 98% of global education policies population that has switched to the online learning during these 2 years. Now teachers as well as students have become quite familiar with online learning. And if we tell them that you will prefer for online learning or offline learning, then you will find there may be a good number of preferences, options opting for the online teaching and learning. Because there are some challenges, problems, but still because of its features and utility and the flexibility and other aspects, it is being that liked by many people. There is a great increase in the number of educational apps. Because of this pandemic, because of our limitations and difficulties and these COVID problems, what happened? We were looking for the applications. We were looking for the applications which could help us in developing the e-content, which could help us in developing the applications for connecting with the students. So a number of educational applications have been developed. There is an increase in the number of users of online learning resources. Earlier, Professor Tomar was also mentioning, now people are using number of courses, online courses, open source courses, etc., virtual tutorials, video programs, audio programs. These all things are being now searched on the internet. Now people have started, and they have started creating their own also. And now you will see that during these 2 years, a number of video-based YouTube channels have been increased. Number of video-based. Even this session is being streamed, is being recorded on the video YouTube channel. Number of video YouTube channels are available. Number of resources are available. This has increased. This shows that there is a demand and there is a need and there is a liking towards the online and digital resources. Sudden increase in the tech startups, yes, it is after effect of the COVID, that we can say the post-COVID pandemic. Number of startups are coming up. Great rise in the number of users of online courses. Even if you see the statistics of the Coursera, Swayam, and edX and these platforms, then there was a number of courses liked by the people. There is a great rise in the number of users. And more than that, you will notice that during these 2 years, people started searching for the personal development courses through online mode, because while sitting at home, while doing something new, even for offering the online courses or recording the video program or developing the content, because people were not aware of those. What they started, they did at their own. They learned at their own. They started searching the YouTube channels. They started searching other platforms and learned at their own. So that way, personal development courses, this this was very much liked by many people, and they did this kind of courses on online mode. So this was a situation of online education before and after. And after COVID, you have seen that what is a great change, what is a great shift in the towards the educational technology that we have seen. And these all things, if we look, if we connect these all with the national education policy, then you will find that our national education policy, which has come in 2020, the thrust of the technological interventions in NEP is also is revolving around these all aspects. Policy says that there is a need for improving teaching, learning, and evaluation process by using the technological interventions. Where this technology should be used for teaching, learning, and evaluation process for improving, for supporting teacher preparedness and professional development. This is the thrust of the technological intervention in NEP. Enhancing educational access that I have mentioned, because access to the education, that is certainly going to be enhanced if we are using the technology, online learning, digital learning, many other ways of integrating it with the formal system, that will going to enhance the educational access. Streamlining educational planning, management, and administration, including the process of admission, attendance and assessment, etc. These are basically the, if we talk about the technological intervention thrust of the NEP, that these four thrust areas and the entire educational, this national education policy is revolving around these four technological interventions. How they are doing, that I will be discussing, I will be sharing with you. These all have been discussed in 2 chapters of the NEP, chapter 23 and chapter 24. So the specific focus of NEP as far as the technological intervention is concerned, that is basically on 2 aspects. One is the technology use and integration with the entire education system. Whatever our formal education system we have, because the NEP is going to, Himanshu. Yes, it's a light come away. Yes, sorry, because this laptop is not mine, and then I have to depend on my son. This NEP, basically, if we talk that technological intervention, it is focusing on 2 main aspects. One is using technology for integrating it with the entire education, for improving the education system, improving the teaching, learning, improving the assessment system, support system, and integrating it with the classroom teaching. That is the focus of the chapter 23. And 24 chapter is going to is focusing on promoting and supporting the online learning as independent, and how that will be done, how it should be done, that is discussed in the chapter 24. So in chapter 24 of the national education policy, if we look at the background of the while developing this, what the policy makers might have thought, that pupil, particularly the new generation children, are becoming more creative and techno savvy, because this is a fact. Now we have seen, we have observed, and these policymakers also might have noticed that the people, particularly the children of the new generation, they are becoming creative and techno savvy. When they are becoming techno savvy, means we should bring in technology in the teaching learning system. That was the one of the background aspect which they might have considered when they were talking about integrating technology with the education system. Another aspect that they might have thought, India is a global leader in ICT. This is a fact. How many ICT expert and talent we have in India, that is well known to all the entire world and all of us. So we know that India is a global leader in ICT and other cutting edge technologies. So keeping that in mind, it was thought that there should be a intervention of the technology in this. Digital India campaign, that also is a great boost, is a great support towards integrating the technology in the education system, because Digital India has made people techno savvy. All the people, whether it is a payment, whether it is a video development and video creation, anything. So this is going to help in the education sector also. ICT and other technology are playing important role in education process and outcome. This we have observed, we have noticed. Wherever we have used technology, ICT, whether it is in teaching, learning, or in evaluation, or in providing any kind of support, then we have noticed that there are very good outcomes, fruitful outcomes. People are liking it. The results are very good. So these all aspects have given basically a kind of background that there should be an integration of ICT in the formal education system. In that context, if we look at the recommendations, as far as the integration of ICT in the formal education system is concerned, then we would like to see that new technology evolving, artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, smart boards, handheld computing devices, adaptive computer testing. These are the things they should be brought into the teaching learning system. New forms of educational software and hardware should be used to change what students learn and how they learn. NEP focuses on bringing new educational software and applications and even the hardwares, so they can help in bringing the changes, positive changes in the teaching learning system. Using and integrating the technology to improve multiple aspects of education should be supported and adapted. A rich variety of educational software should be developed for various purposes, so that they can help students as well as the teachers. All such software should be available in major Indian language. This is one of the major recommendation, that when we talk about the technological intervention in education system, the software and applications and even the content, they should be made available in Indian languages, particularly the regional languages which are in the constitution schedule, and they should be universally accessible to the student, because accessibility is very important. If you are making them available in a way that they are not in a Unicode or cannot be accessed by the people, by the common people on any device, then I think it may not be helpful in that way. And also it should be useful for the Divyangjan. These are the recommendations of the NEP as far as the technological uses are concerned and its integration is concerned. Other integration and technological uses of this NEP are: teaching learning content should be developed by the states in regional languages, and also it should be supported by the central agencies like NCERT, CIET, CBSE, NIOS, and IGNOU, etc. And it is started. Make the content available in technology-based platforms like Diksha and Swayam. Whatever e-content is being developed, it is one of the recommendation of the NEP that it should be made available on the common platforms like Diksha and Swayam, so that it could be utilized by anybody, anywhere. Another recommendation of the NEP as far as the technology is concerned: integrate e-content across schools and higher education. This is very important. In fact, before this NEP, you might have noticed that this NPTEL, they had developed a number of video programs, and many of them were useful for the school children. They were being used by the children, by the school students preparing for the IIT, NEET, etc., and even for CBSE board also. So that kind of integrated approach for making the content available across the schools and higher education. This is one of the recommendation of the NEP, and it is being now practiced. Initiatives have been taken up in this direction. Special attention should be given to emerging disruptive technologies that will necessarily transform the education system, because day by day technological developments are there. A number of technologies are being are coming up. So policy recommends that there should be a special attention on disruptive technologies that should be done. And to do this all entire thing, to coordinate this, the policy recommend that there should be a national educational technology forum. It should be created, aimed at providing a platform for free exchange of ideas, free exchange of those technological developments, so that anybody from anywhere in any institute could use that. So this national educational technology forum creation is one of the great recommendation of NEP as far as its technological use and integration is concerned. And what will be basically its role, that I would like to share with you. NEP 2020 recommends for creation of NETF. That's now very important aspect. But why it should be done? Because it will help in enhancing learning, assessment, planning, and even the administration reforms. That could be the one of the aspects, because any institute is doing something and other institute is doing another thing. How those all things be brought on one platform should be integrated, so that efforts are not duplicated. For that purpose, the creation of this NETF is very important. NETF will provide independent evidence-based advice to government agencies, because they will be doing research, they will be talking to the people, to the users, and accordingly they will be advising the government agencies also to bring out the required technological interventions. This is one of the important purpose of creation of NETF. It will help in building technology infrastructure in educational institutes, because when we talk about the implementation of NEP, as far as the technology and online learning is concerned, it is very important to create a technology infrastructure. What kind of infrastructure should be there? What kind of facilities should be there? What kind of technical manpower should be there? In that context, this National Educational Technology Forum is likely to advise and suggest the government what should be done. And also they will be funding, they will be providing all kind of support. Technological intervention will not only boost online learning but improve classroom teaching, because this NETF is going to play a very important role when this kind of infrastructure will be created, when this kind of manpower will be developed. Then I think they will not be contributing only to the classroom teaching, they will be helping in developing the online learning also. This forum will also aim at laying down standards in terms of content, because it is a very important aspect. Whatever content one institute is developing, one teacher is developing, whether it is meeting the minimum benchmark, minimum standards or not, in terms of technology, in terms of content, in terms of pedagogy. These all aspects, who will decide? That will be done by the NETP. So this is a very great recommendation of the NEP as far as the implementation of technology is concerned in the education sector. If we talk about the chapter 4, particularly the online and digital education, this is aimed at ensuring the equitable use of technology, basically, because at one end we are talking about the integration of technology in the formal classroom systems, face-to-face classroom teaching system, as I have discussed, and it has been described in the chapter 23. At the same time, because we have many other targets also, like I talked about the GER also, how to get that gross enrollment ratio, which has been envisioned by the NEP, or also the government is planning to that. That cannot be done only by the existing infrastructure, physical infrastructure. In that context, I think this online and digital education is going to play a very important role. That's why we are saying that it is going to be a game changer. So it aims at ensuring equitable use of technology. How that will be done, that I would like to discuss with you. Uh, the recommendation of national education policy as far as the online learning is concerned, basically we can say these are the 9 recommendations, major 9 recommendations that have been given by the policy. Pilot study for online education, because online education, whatever we saw so far, that was basically one to one institute did something and another institute did something. But what should be the standard, what should be the basic benefit of integrating the education, said whether it can be integrated with the formal classroom or not, can it be done independent online education. For that purpose, some pilot studies should be done. It is the recommendation, one of the recommendation of the NEP. Who will be doing that? Certain agencies like NCERT and iOS, and these have been CBSE, they have been asked to do some work in this direction. Another important key recommendation of the NEP is to create digital infrastructure, because when we talk about the technology used in education sector, or use of online learning in the education sector, then it's a very important to create a digital infrastructure at both the ends, at the end of the student as well as at the end of the teacher and the institute. So that is one of the important recommendation of NEP. Another recommendation of the NEP is online teaching platform and tools. Because when we talk about the online learning, it cannot be simply like what we did do on in the classroom teaching. For that purpose, we need very good quality online teaching platforms and tools and techniques. And the available tools and techniques may not be sufficient to meet the future demands. For that purpose, whatever existing platforms are available like Swam or Diksha or other, they need to be updated. Upgrading is important aspect, and also they need to be extended to supply teachers with a structured, user-friendly, rich set of assistive tools for monitoring progress of learners. Because it's not just we are offering the online classes and then that is sufficient. We have to make it like that kind of environment which we do give in the formal classroom teaching. It should be interactive. It should be discussion oriented. It should have a provision of feedback. It should be providing the study material, should be providing the video content. These all things should be provided. How those all things will be provided, that is a great challenge, and how it will be done, but it's a great recommendation of the NEP. But for all these, another important recommendation is content creation, digital repository, and also it's a dissemination. Because creation of content, whether it is a audio program, that e-content, or the video program, or the learning games, simulations, etc., whatever type of content is created, that should be standard quality. Who will be creating, how it will be created, that is a great challenge, and it is one of the recommendations that standard content should be created, and a digital repository should be developed, so that it can be used by anybody from anywhere for any purpose in India. That is the great important recommendation of the NEP. Another recommendation of NEP is addressing the digital divide, because NEP recognizes it that there is a great problem of this infrastructure, availability of internet connectivity, and also the availability of the learning material in Indian languages. So addressing the digital divide, that's one of the recommendation, and the government of India has started working in this direction. Because when we are talking about the online learning, and in online learning, it may not be possible to visit the physical laboratories for the experimentation and practical work. That's why the policy recommends for creation of virtual labs. And the virtual labs in our country, a very big project supported by the Ministry of Education is working. A number of virtual labs have been created in different disciplines. That is happening, but it is one of the key recommendation of the NEP. Another recommendation of the NEP is training and incentivizing the teachers. Because we know when we talk about the online learning, digital learning, or technological use of this ICT in the education sector, the great barrier is that teachers are not well aware of that, how to use this technology, how to use or how to develop the e-content. So for that purpose, the training of the teacher is very important, and also to incentivize them that they are coming at their own. So some motivation is with them, maybe in terms of the promotion, maybe in terms of the some other recognitions. So that is being recommended by the NEP. Online assessment and examination is going to be a very great challenge. So NEP uh, finds it a key recommendation that there should be a proper framework for conducting online assessment, developing proper competencies, portfolios, rubrics, standardized assessments, and assessment analytics, etc. This is one of the recommendation of the NEP. Another recommendation of NEP in terms of online learning is developing blended mode of learning, because we have observed now also during these 2 years that neither the formal system nor the online system at separately going to meet the need of the country as far as the providing education to all is concerned. We'll have to follow the blended approach of teaching learning. Blended approach, maybe sometimes some of the students presently also we are observing that in many of these schools and colleges, teachers are providing classroom teaching, and some of these students are attending the classes from their homes, and some are attending the physical classes 50%, 50%, that kind of. And that is it is a basically we are seeing that it is happening. It is a found successful also. So this blended mode of learning is also going to be a very important game changer in online learning, and it is one of the recommendation of the NEP. Another important thing is laying down the standards, because unless you lay down the standards, develop the SOPs and other standard procedures, then I think these all things will not be meeting the target what we are envision. For that purpose, certain standards need to be developed, and for that purpose, the research will have to be carried out. The content which we are developing, the video programs which you are developing, they are as per these standards or not. And but who will be developing those standards? This National Educational Technology Forum is one of the body which is likely to look into these aspects, and also the other existing bodies like UGC, AICT, they also will be looking into these all factors. And in fact, UGC has already started developing standards for the online learning, particularly in the higher education system. So these are the key recommendation of the NEP as far as the online learning is concerned. But when we talk about the recommendations and their implementation, certainly there is a great question of the problems, how we will be implementing. There are certain challenges also when we talk about implementation of these online learning in India. One of the great challenges, lack of trained teachers, because when we are talking about imparting education through online mode, in virtual mode, in digital mode, or even developing the e-content, then I think all teachers are not aware of them. They need to be trained properly. And simply, presently, they have learned at their own. Most of the teachers have learned at their own. Even we have noticed that in our university, we were trying to provide this kind of faculty development programs. We found that number of teachers are not well aware of using even these platforms, Zooms and Google Meets, etc. How to make presentation, development of video program, development of our presentation. That's another aspect. But even using those, that's also a great barrier. So that kind of training is a great challenge, and training for to so many teachers in the country is going to be a great challenge. Bridging the digital divide, that's also very important challenge. Significant gap between the privileged and disadvantaged people in terms of learning devices and data connectivity. This we all have noticed during these 2 years, because in the urban areas or in the privileged areas, we have noticed that some of the People are having the mobile devices, laptops, etc. Their data connectivity is good, but we have noticed even in the cities like Delhi, the people who are living in disadvantaged areas, they are not having that kind of connectivity. They are not having those devices. Even in their family, only one device is there, and three, four children have to use that device. So that's a great challenge. How government will be doing, how people will be doing. So that's we have to see what should be done in that case. Effectiveness of online learning, it's another challenge we have noticed in our university, and also you might have seen that we are offering online learning, and we find that I'm giving a talk, and then the students who are connected with us, they are basically, they have switched off their cameras, doing something else, or are not engaging themselves in the teaching learning process. So how to ensure that they are with us, how to ensure that they are learning the online education, particularly in the lower age group, this is a very great challenge. So we have to look into it. Availability of quality e-content. I mentioned that e-content is being developed, and I have noticed that many people are thinking e-content like, if I have developed a PDF of a Word file, that they consider that is the e-content. But that's not true. What is e-content? What is the minimum standard of developing the e-content? What is the procedure of developing e-content? And these all things are very important to be considered, and it's a very great challenge. And particularly if we talk about development of e-content in regional language. In regional English, we find a number of content is video programs are available, text material is available, audio programs are available, PPTs are available, but in regional language are very less, very minimum. So we have to take care of those all. So these are the challenges. Another challenge when we talk about implementing online learning in India is the affordability of data, affordability of the online learning, particularly in the socioeconomically disadvantaged group. That's a very great challenge. Digital infrastructure is another important challenge, ensuring proper facilities and infrastructure in the schools and colleges. Because I talked about this, the infrastructure at the end of the student, at the with the teacher. But when we talk about developing the e-content, developing the good quality video programs, for that purpose, we'll have to have infrastructure, proper facilities in the schools and colleges also. The video programs which we are creating just by way of delivering talk on this kind of platform, I think that may not be sufficient. We'll have to develop video programs in a way so that they are interactive, they are having multimedia component. For that purpose, may not be very high-end studios would be required, but at least a minimum level of studios should be developed, so that teachers who are trained, who are able to develop e-content or videos or the PowerPoint or other this kind of content, they should be able to develop. So for that purpose, proper facilities and infrastructure in the schools and colleges, universities and institutes also need to be created, even for taking the online classes. That's a great challenge. Delivering practical based courses, yes, it's a very, because being a science student, we are basically forced to think, if we are talking about the online learning, then how we will ensure that the practicals or hands-on things are being done in online mode, how it will be done. Efforts are being done, yes, virtual labs are being created, but can they replace the actual face-to-face hands-on practicals? That's a great challenge. And how it can be done, yes, up to a great extent it can be done by the help of simulations and some video programs, but it cannot replace the face-to-face hands-on practical setup entirely. So that's a great challenge when we are talking about the online learning in India. Another important challenge is assessment and examination. Even during these 2 years, we have seen teaching was being done up to some extent through online mode. People were taking online classes, virtual classes, providing support through WhatsApp group, etc. But when there was a question of assessment and examination, that was a very great challenge. How to conduct the examination? because in case of teaching, we can say that a student is sitting at home and we are taking class from our home also. That teaching learning is taking place up to some extent. But when we talk about the examination assessment, then the question of its fairness comes there. Is how effectively they are being conducted. That all is to be ensured how it will be done. Though some efforts are being done to conduct online examination in a proctored manner, but they are not as effective as we are thinking. But still, it's a great challenge, and we all need to think very seriously, come out with solutions in this context. Another important challenge, and it's a very great serious problem also, that's a problem to the health of the students, particularly those who are continuously watching 6-8 hours online classes. 7 teachers are taking classes, teachers are changing, but the student is same. So same student has to take class for 6 or 7 hours continuously, that too on a very small device, mobile device only. Because the all children are not having the big screen laptops. They have to look at the small screen also. So they have become a screen based education, and then it is impacting their health, particularly their eyes. And also we all have seen that students, because of these all limitations, that they are sitting at their home, they are not meeting their peer students, the friends and other things. So it's also a great challenge to the social life of the children. So if we talk about the online learning in India, then I think we'll have to think about these all challenges also. How to address these all challenges, that we have to ponder, we have to think. But yes, challenges are there. Government is also noticing these all challenges. We all teachers and the fraternity who are associated with the education sector, they are also worried about these all things. We are taking some initiatives, making some efforts at our own level. But at the same time, Government of India is also taking initiatives, because they are committed to implement the NEP in a limited given time. So for that purpose, one very important initiative taken by the Government of India is for creation of a dedicated unit in the MOE. That is basically monitoring, coordinating with the other agencies who are working in the field of implementation of NEP, particularly focusing on the online learning, etc. Regarding the pilot studies, conducting pilot studies, because it was one of the recommendation of the NEP, that when we talk about the technological intervention or online education, it says that there should be a pilot study. There's some pilot studies should be conducted to look into the problems and the possibilities and the understanding the things. So for that purpose, the agencies like CIT, NIOS, IGNO, IIT, they have started the conducting pilot studies, and they are giving recommendations and also accordingly providing their inputs to the Government of India. For the online assessment, as I mentioned, it is one of the great challenge and also one of the recommendation of the NEP, that when we are talking about the online learning and digital learning, we'll have to go for the online assessment. Then in that context, we'll have to find out the framework, we'll have to develop the competencies. So in that context, the agencies like NTA, National Testing Agency, they have initiated. Other universities and organizations are also taking initiatives at their own, and then coming up with innovative ideas. Increasing internet penetration, that is one of the great challenge and problem when we talk about implementation of NEP in terms of the online learning. So I would like to just share with you that I saw somewhere that so far the Government of India has made some effort in creating the fiber optical cables in different villages. So out of 7 lakh villages, more than 3 lakh villages have been given this internet connectivity so far, and it's likely to be covered by the year end also. So that way, at least up to the village level, good connectivity will be available. Otherwise, the private players, many agencies, they are providing very free, not freely, very cheapest data connectivity. But yes, it is costing to the poor children. So government has to think in this direction. For providing online education, this SWAYAM platform is playing very key role. And SWAYAM platform before NEP and even before the pandemic was in a different shape, but now it is being revamped, it is being upgraded, and many new features are being added in this, and it is a ongoing thing. And all the national coordinators, including IGNOU, NIOS, CBSC, CIT, and CEC, IITs, they are contributing and they are making it a good alternative to all other online platforms in India. So that's a great initiative of the Government of India, and their focus is on this. For this conducting online classes, we have seen that we are using these all platforms for conducting online classes, but I have seen that Government of India, particularly the Ministry of Information Technology, they are promoting, encouraging the students to come up with new innovative apps which could take care of offering such kind of online and virtual classes. And efforts are being made. Several startups have come up, and government is also supporting them. And hopefully, we'll have good alternative to these all apps. Yes, another important initiative to promote online learning is upgrading online tools and platforms. This upgrading tools and platforms is very important, because when we are developing new tools and new platforms, that is also required to meet the increased demand. But whatever existing platforms like a Diksha and SWAYAM we are having, as I told just now, SWAYAM is being upgraded, being expanded to take care of more online programs. Similarly, Diksha is also being upgraded for providing support to the teachers in terms of upgrading their skills and other things. Similarly, the e-Pathshala that was developed as an app by the NCERT a few years back, it has become very popular and is being used. And just like that, e-PG Pathshala also has come up, that is being developed to take care of the e-textbooks, e-content at the higher education level. That is not only having the textbooks, it is having audio programs, video programs, good quality PowerPoint presentations. So that kind of rich text is available on this e-Pathshala as well as e-PG Pathshala. Another important aspect, initiative of the Government of India is to encourage the radio broadcast and podcast. Because when we talk about the remote areas or rural areas where the internet connectivity is not as good as we should have, how to reach out to them in their context, this radio broadcast and podcast is playing very great role. Particularly the Shiksha Vani by the CBSC and Gyan Vani by IGNOU. NIOS has also come up with a similar kind of radio broadcast, which can reach out to the remotest part of the country without any internet requirement. So that is being done. And along with that, you might be knowing that SWAYAM Prabha are the channels, that DTS-based channels, and 32 channels have been identified, and these channels are being basically developed. A lot of content is being developed for them. Different organizations, including the universities and IITs and the school level organizations, they are coming up, and government has planned to develop one class, one channel, particularly for the school education. So that way, SWAYAM Prabha is one of the great initiative of the Government of India in the direction of implementing the NEP to reach out to the pupil or the children in the remote areas. And you can see this digital university announcement during this recent budget. It is again going to be a game changer, because the Government of India has announced the establishment of a digital university in the recent budget. And if it is coming up, then I think it will be a very great game changer again in the online education sector, and also in a proper implementation of the NEP. Because this digital university is basically, I have read that it is going to provide education in a mother tongue and at the doorstep of the students. So that is basically the need of the hour also. It may address the limitations of the seats and quality education, because when we talk about the admission in higher education particularly, The many students are not able to take admission because of many reasons, because of their less marks or distance or other fee factors, etc., affordability, etc. But once the digital university is concerned, is activated, is in place, then I think this kind of problems will be automatically sorted out. You will agree that the open and distance learning system is already helping in this direction, but setting up of digital university, that will be another addition to meet the requirement of the children, particularly in the remote areas, and also in meeting the gross enrollment ratio that we are thinking of. How it will be working, basically, this is going to work on a hub and spoke model, because digital university will be one setup, some place somewhere where some administrative people will be there, will be helping them, but it will be taking help of the institutes who are already good ranked by the NIRF or otherwise NAC accredited institution. They will be working as a feeder, will be providing inputs and support in terms of content, in terms of other inputs as I spoke. So this model is going to be very good, good boost in the online education system. I have heard that when we talk about the digital education, the available SWAYAM courses will also be blended with the online education to be provided through this digital education, and also through other universities and institutions also. It will provide technology-based education supported by AI-based assessment system, because technology-based education support, other institutes are also thinking of or providing the that kind of education. But when we talk about the assessment, what kind of assessment particularly should be provided so that is effective, it is taking care of the large number of students in the limited circumstances. So in that context, the use of AI is, I think, is very important. That will help in basically revolutionizing the assessment system. Facility of credit transfer, that we all know that academic credit bank has been created, and the credit earned through digital university, otherwise also they will be transferred from one system to another system. So this is one of the important aspect of the digital university. Students can attend. Another important aspect that I think I should highlight, that digital university has that kind of provision that students who take admission in digital university, they can attend the traditional classes as well as the online classes also. This is going to be a very unique kind of model, and let us see how it will be implemented. Then we will be having a clear picture. But these are the things which are being taught right now, which are discussed right now, and people are discussing that it is going to be a great boost in the education sector. As I mentioned, the standard setting is a very important aspect in online education, because one problem is that all the teachers, all the students, they are not well aware of the development of the content, development of the video program, and also not aware of the use of these online classes. So what should be the minimum benchmark setting standard for that? If anybody is allowed to offer online education, will it be meeting the those requirements of the pupil or the students? For that purpose, University Grant Commission, it brought out a special regulation on online program. And in fact, it was not an online program, it was a regulation on ODL and online program. Earlier, it was brought in 2020, which was amended in 2021. And again, now it is announced that suggestions and inputs have been invited from the pupil to amend it further in light of the NEP. So that is a, I think, great initiative of the Government of India to implement the online programs through this NEP as per the NEP's recommendation. So what this ODL or online program regulation says, basically, as I mentioned, it is talking about the laying down the minimum standard of instructions for the grant of degrees through ODL and online mode, because there should be a minimum standard of instructions, minimum certain SOPs should be developed. So that is being recommended by the regulation. And for that purpose, the UGC has already identified top 100 NIRF institutes or universities or accredited with the NAC with A plus grade. That those institutes have been identified and they have been allowed to offer online programs. So if these institutes are now offering their online program as a standalone program, then I think it will be in addition to the programs which are already being offered in the formal system. So that will help not only in creating the good quality learning material, e-content, but it will also help in reaching out to the more number of students who, because of one or other reason, could not take admission in the formal setting. Because in formal setting, the fee is very large. But I hope in online setting, the fee will not be as large. So it will be basically within the affordability limit of the students also. More number of students are likely to join online program, and it is now become a choice also. People are preferring the online program because they want to continue with their some other engagements, employment, etc. Along with that, they can continue with the online programs. So allowing 100 institutes to offer online program, I think is going to help in this direction. Higher education institutions should have access to SWAYAM. This is one of the condition of this regulation, that any institute who is going to offer the online program, they should have either access to the SWAYAM platform, because they'll have to offer their online program through SWAYAM platform, or they should have their own learning management system, independent learning management system, but that should also be integrated with this kind of national platforms. This is one of the conditions. They need to set up Center for Online Education. This setting up a Center for Online Education is mandatory, particularly for the open university setups. And if they are formal education system, then they need to set up a distance and online education center in their institute, because that center, setting up of center will ensure appropriate and adequate technical, academic, and administrative staff. And because unless you are setting up that center, how we will ensure that you are having that kind of right kind of manpower, required infrastructure, etc. So that minimum is infrastructure, minimum number of technical and academic administrative manpower is required. And if you are not having these kind of centers, you will not be allowed to offer the online program. So that way, again, it is setting the standard for offering the online program. And a very important aspect of this regulation is that it talks about the self-regulation, because self-regulation is a kind of thing which is very good thing. When you are regulating, monitoring your program, your initiative yourself within the parameters, as per the parameters laid down by the UGC, then I think it will automatically ensure that you are meeting the minimum criteria. So that's a good aspect, and we can say the innovative aspect of these regulations, which are allowing certain number of institutes to offer the online programs. Another important aspect is that, like any university is offering any program in a particular discipline, they will have to be a minimum, that common provision for ODL mode and online mode. It cannot be like that for the formal system, some other curriculum is there, admission procedure is different, or exam system is different. But as per this regulation, they'll have to the same admission system, same curriculum, same examination, so that the question of parity is not there tomorrow after completing a course on online mode. This kind of provisions have been taken care by the UGC. So I wanted to share with you the initiatives taken by the Government of India as far as the implementation of NEP is concerned for the online and digital education system. Now, lot has been done, but much more is to be done. What is that I would like to share with you, online learning in India way forward. So first thing is, as I mentioned, the upskilling teachers. That's a very important aspect. Yet we are not able to train the teachers, all the teachers, in a proper way. That's a great challenge. We'll have to take care of this. Special focus arrangements we will have to plan. Even the IAPT can also think of organizing certain training programs, particularly for upskilling the teachers, using the technology, not only developing, but using the available technology. That I think initiatives need to be taken up by the government as well as by the people like us. Developing quality content is a thing which need to be taken care, and it's a yet very in a very we can say the very small manner it is being developed. Good quality content is not available there. Another important thing is offering skill development courses, because when we talk about the online learning or digital learning or distance mode, always there is a question of how we will be offering the skill based courses or the strengthening the vocational courses. So we'll have to look into this direction also. When we talk about providing an alternative solution to the former system through online learning system, we'll have to think in this direction also, how these skill-based and vocational training programs could be provided through online mode. Framing online learning and digital education guidelines, because these guidelines UGC is preparing, but they are simply the broad guidelines. But we'll have to prepare the micro level guidelines, micro level standards also, so that uniformity and parity is there at all aspects, at all level. Creation of public digital interoperable infrastructure, because I'm now talking on this laptop, somebody is on the mobile, somebody is using some other platform. So this kind of a multiple platform should be interoperable. This is a question, like through mobile we are not able to do certain things, through laptop we are not able to do something. So this kind of interoperable infrastructure need to be in place. Developing digital classrooms, because when we are talking about the integration of technology in the formal system, then this developing digital classroom need to be enhanced further. Though in some elite schools, in good schools, this kind of infrastructure is already there. In some of the government schools and colleges, it is being tried out. But I think we'll have to think beyond that what we are having right now. Similarly, this online assessment is again a question, because in many cases I have seen even in our university, online programs are being offered, but when it comes the question of assessing examination, then again we are thinking how to conduct examination. Either we are going to the offline based examination or doing something else, but this area is a very important area which requires a lot of research, lot of development, technological development, and other initiatives are required in this direction. Ensuring coherent user experience by multimedia, because this is very important. Some programs we are offering through TV channels, radio programs, broadcasts, something is being offered on one platform, something is being offered. How to integrate those all things, that is also a very great challenge for the students. So I think we should provide some integrated way of providing the multimedia access to the students and the users. Enabling anytime, anywhere access to digital education. This requires a number of factors. Maybe the infrastructure, maybe the availability of the internet connectivity, maybe the availability of the devices, maybe the availability of the proper e-content. But we'll have to think in this direction that any student is anywhere, they should be able to access the education. Then only the success of online education can be ensured. And for that purpose, this increasing internet connectivity and its penetration is very important. And I think in this direction, government has to think very seriously. They are thinking, but yet the effort need to be made more serious. So this is all from my side. Thank you very much for.
Thank you, sir, for your lecture. So
I will stop my.
Yes, of course, sir.
Yes,
so
I'm sorry. 2 times there was a technical problem.
That's fine, sir.
These are the limitations of the technology that we have to meet and then also find solutions. That's again a great challenge when we talk about the implementation of online learning and digital education in the country.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
So we have some questions in the chat box. So
Yes.
I'm going to read those questions in front of you. So, sir, please explain how NEP 2020 is impactful in the field of enhancement of values, Indian culture and tradition. I think this may be the question from the chief guest, not from you.
If chief guest is there, he can respond. Otherwise, I can also try.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Please, you because he's
In
spoke
fact,
on that.
in fact, as I mentioned, our education policy, national education policy, that focuses on these aspects. This technology, use of technology and other things, these are for the implementation of those things. These are the mode of providing. But what we are providing, that is the aspect, the value of Indian values, culture, and what I mentioned, the Bharatiyata, Bharatiya Mulya. We are trying to focus on those. We are trying to revive those, all those which we have forgotten. We are trying to, the NEP focuses on bringing glory of the Indian richness, Indian culture. That is the main focus. But how that will be done, how we will be reaching out to these children, how we will be connecting the teachers and students through technology, that is the one component. But otherwise, our NEP is focusing on those things. NEP is not simply that we will be teaching you something and conducting examination. NEP is basically trying to make you think about the things given in that.
Okay, sir. The next question is from Professor P.K. Luwalia. Can IAPT participate in the pilot project which you have mentioned in your talk?
I think IAPT directly cannot participate, but we can give our inputs. Like we can organize some discussion groups, or we can have some working group, working committee we can form, and then accordingly we can come out with some concrete suggestions and recommendations, and some material also we can develop, and we can offer them, so that any of these organizations like IGNO, CBSE, NIOS, or any other organization, they can take advantage of our what we are developing. Because earlier I would like to tell you, even when Professor Khandelwal, DP Khandelwal was there, once he came to NCERT, and that time NCERT's physics book was developed, and it was launched very few months or few months before that, and he had analyzed each and every chapter line by line, and had given his a very big that suggestions and inputs in I think in at least 10-15 page inputs, and it was being implemented by the NCERT. It was done. So that, and presently also IAPT RC1 that does many times analysis of the CBSE's physics question paper after its conduct in the term and examination, and we provide them inputs. So that way it can be a kind of a group which can influence these bodies. So directly, yes, we cannot do, but indirectly we can help them, and we should do. I think IAPT kind of organization which is having its presence and all over the country, it should have its presence felt in these institutions. We should do something.
Right.
We can do.
Right, sir. So next question is this new education policy giving chance for freedom in course selection, topic, process to impart knowledge, offline or online, percentage, variation, innovation to research, incorporated in academic calendar, and the chance for non-teaching to upgrade the PG courses?
Yes, it is going to give. Lots of flexibilities are being given.
Okay.
What mentioned, integrated approach, interdisciplinary approach, multidisciplinary offering of the subjects, and also the freedom to select the courses of your choice. In fact, I can say some of the features NEP has taken from the all existing open and distance learning system. At the school level, there was a provision of selecting any subject with any kind of combination. This NEP is recommending that, because this NEP is looking into the choice and the taste of the student. What student needs. If a person is interested in history and is asked to take physics along with certain subject, I think it's not a good thing. So in that context, this NEP is giving freedom to choose any kind of combination, any kind of discipline as per their choice. So it's a good innovative aspect of that feature of NEP.
Okay, sir.
May
So
I
next
just
question.
mention one thing, Manishi?
Anji.
Professor O.P. Sharma, I am Dr. Aluwalia.
Ji.
And you know what is happening is in the traditional universities, and there is a very interesting comparison between online and distance, these traditional universities, that when it comes to, offering interdisciplinary or choices, actually there is a lot of limitation which comes up because you require teachers in the traditional universities, and teachers for even teaching present courses are not available in many of the colleges and the universities. So that is a very, very big challenge, how that can be overcome. And somehow one option which is being given is that 2 of the courses will be done by the students through online mode itself. That choice is being offered. But will that be costing student an additional money out of his pocket to really to register for those kinds of courses out of the traditional university system or the traditional college system? I'm focusing on higher education itself. I think this is something which one really needs to look at very, very carefully. Otherwise, what will happen is every university will have its own bouquet, and it may reduce itself to the traditional bouquet only and not in a realistic choice-based credit bouquet. That's a very big challenge.
I think in this context, these 2 aspects, one is the ABC, academic bank of credits, and another this online learning. They can play very important role. Why? Because the challenges or the problem with the former system will remain, because every school, every college may not be able to have the expert teacher of all the discipline. It's a true. It will not happen because your policy is allowing, but school or the college is not having the expert or the teacher of that area. So they will not allow. It's happening presently also. But if the concept of blended approach is followed by the system, by the education system, then I think this problem can be sorted out. Blended means like I will take 5 subjects. I'm talking about the school education, 5 subject, and one of the subject is which I like is not in that particular school or college, but that is available on SWAYAM, is available on some other platform. So if I'm allowed to do that particular course from that SWAYAM platform, and rest of the courses from your school or from that bouquet which you are already having, then I should be allowed to transfer my credit from SWAYAM to here and here to SWAYAM, and it's happening. Even the higher education system, I would like to share with you that UGC and other bodies, they are allowing, they are making it mandatory also, that this kind of provisions should be with all the higher education institutions. Whatever program they are developing, it should be equivalent, parallel in terms of curriculum, and should be transferable as far as the credit is concerned. So if you earn a credit from one institute, one platform, some credit from another platform, and then you integrate and then take degree or diploma, that is possible. With this NEP, I think this provision is there and it can be done. And if it is not done in that context, our organization can highlight it. We can recommend that this kind of provisions should be made, so that the students who are having who want to have a subject of their choice, they can do from anywhere. Like as I shared with you in blended learning, what this digital university is planning, because whatever I read somewhere, because full document is not there, I could see that they will allow some courses in one mode and some courses in online mode. and they can be blended and integrated. Credit transfer could be done, and then degree could be awarded. So that approach can be followed at all level, even at the school level also.
There was one thing more. I think I'll take just 1 minute
Yes.
to put it, and that is that when IAPT, as a group, has got very many retired teachers, and national education policy says that we will take care of the resources from the retired teachers also, and they will be brought into. They are being encouraged to register somewhere, and we have already got those set of people in a group. So I think there should be some kind of a window that such resource of human beings, human resource, which is available and which is very, very experienced, should be involved in pilot projects. That is what I would like. If you get into some kind of a platform and if you desire that we can be brought into that discussion, I think we will welcome that from the IAPT point of view.
In fact, on an individual basis, people are being invited. They are being involved for this content generation and pooling of resources. This I have noticed in many organizations it is happening. But as a platform, if we recommend that these are the people who could be done, that I think we'll have to explore how possible it is. But IAPT being a very important organization, we can make it possible that we have some say in this kind of things. You can try. Certainly, it's a good suggestion.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Moving ahead, Professor Ranjan Kumar has asked 3 questions, so I am asking one by one, and he has also raised the hand. So let me read his question from here from the chat box first, and then if some queries will be more, then he can come online as well. So first question is: will online education undermine the role of the teacher?
No, it cannot be.
Okay.
Online is basically mode of offering.
Right.
But
Right.
teacher will be offering, teacher will be teaching. Online doesn't mean replacing teacher.
Right.
And in fact, teaching through online is more challenging. Because as I mentioned, in online, challenges are engaging the student, providing that interactive content. In classroom, you are there, you are taking care of all those disciplinary aspects, you are taking care of all those teaching learning aspects, you are taking care of all those evaluation and testing aspects in front of you. But when you are teaching through online, it becomes more challenging. As I mentioned, the students are going out, making their camera off. How will you engage them? How will you make sure that they are they are with you? So that way, teacher's role is going to be very challenging and more important.
Right, sir. So his second question is: what are the budget implications for implementation of these recommendations of NEP?
Budget, so I think exactly they have not decided, but year after year, as per the requirement, government is taking proper actions and initiatives. Recently, in this recent budget, you might have seen they have announced digital university, establishment of digital university, and a huge budget has been allocated for that. So, but initially it was not planned, but now this year it has come. Similarly, last year also, in every budget they are doing something as per the requirement and need, and along with that also they are providing the financial support to the institutions to create the infrastructure, to provide the training to the teachers. That kind of support they are government is providing from time to time. There are provisions in the UGC, in the government, in the AICT. You come with proposal and then take that approval and provide training to the teachers. So budget, I think, is not problem, because it is a very highly ambitious project of the government of India, launching of the national education policy.
Okay, sir. So his third question is: how realistic it is to realize these recommendations in the present scenario of school and universities?
Realistic, you all have noticed during the last 2 years. If you think before April 2020, I think none of us, I can say none of us, might have interacted through this kind of platform. But the situation circumstances, they forced us. And I can say this pandemic, fortunately or unfortunately, it has given a great boost to the implementation of NEP as far as the technology is concerned. Because right kind of training we have not got, but still we have learned how to log in, how to switch on my camera, how to switch on my mic. This kind of thing people have learned, and it has become realistic. It is a reality. People are connecting now. You see, in the higher education, school education, nobody is going to in the formal setting. We are not meeting. Even the big meetings, big decisions are being taken, big board meetings are taking place through this mode. So it's realistic, and it what we'll have to take extra cautions. We cannot take it casually. Like if we are doing implementing NEP in a proper way, we should take it up seriously. We all should give our inputs, how to implement whatever is coming to your mind. If any problem is coming to my mind, so that this is likely to be there, I should come with a suggestive solution also. And what Professor Ahluwalia was suggesting, we can give our inputs to the government also. Like these are the likely problems, and you can address those in this way, because they are also demanding for the inputs. As I mentioned, the UGC's online regulation 2021, it is now open on UGC's website for suggestions and inputs. So if we are all looking at, are trying to give our inputs, then I think they will be implementing. Otherwise, a few people will take decisions. So that way, democratic decision by involving large number of people will help us in a better implementation.
Okay. I think Dr. Kulkarni has raised the hand. So Dr. Kulkarni, do you want to ask any question? Dr. A.G. Kulkarni ji.
Below compared to India. So point is, in this all online teaching and learning and everything, we have to see the teaching learning outcomes. What students are getting at the end. And moreover, I don't agree, personally, I don't agree with the concept that we should teach higher education to everyone. That means by enrolling them to the online system. That means we are undermining the eligibility criteria. And when it comes to appointments and somewhere, then they will always compare. Oh, you have come with the online university. You have come from the digital university. You have come from the DU. You have come from the KU, right? So they are going to, I mean, there should be some sort of criteria, eligibility, which should focus, which should be, I mean, will they be at par? That is the point. So by providing education to all doesn't mean that you are making them able. Assessing their capability, their learning outcomes is really important.
Should I respond?
Yes, yes.
Just not responding, but I would like to give my inputs.
Yeah.
That's
yes.
in fact, this way you are right. Earlier, it was a kind of understanding that we all had, that you are coming from distance education, you are coming from a system. But you see, the last 2 years, what it has taught us. Anybody, even from the DU or JNU or any university, how they have completed their 2 years degree, master's degree, you can see, is it online or distance mode? So the difference is now reducing, minimizing. But yes, question of quality teaching is very important. How you are teaching, that's very important. And secondly, these barriers of online learning, and then who will be qualified for that, who will be eligible for that, I think now it is becoming the choice of the learners. Because I, being in the open and distance learning system, both at the school level and higher education level, I have seen that earlier the students were mainly those students were coming to take admission, those who were denied admission in the formal system because of one or other reason. But now the students are coming by choice, because either they are working somewhere there or doing something else, or they are interested in doing in this way. So the many number of the students, they are coming by choice. So we'll have to provide them the facility to choose what they want. If they want to go for the formal system and are able to take admission, they are free, they can go. But you can see, because of the limitations of the seats, limitations of the infrastructure, all students are not able to take admission. This is a fact, and you all agree with that. all students are not able to take admission in the higher education system particularly. Those are the students who are who are finding place where in the open and distance learning universities. Now in the digital university will be the place for them. But if we are providing them quality education, quality support, quality kind of interaction, those all, I think this difference is going to be reduced in future to come.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
There was one question which I wanted to ask you, and because you are an expert, Professor O.P. Sharma, and this is in the context of IAPT itself.
Ji.
And that context is that we would like to have some kind of infrastructure for throwing out some IT, programs at the IAPT level itself. And I know that we cannot afford that kind of an infrastructure which is needed at that scale. Scale of ours is going to be very small. How can you suggest us about, cloud resources which are available in which we can go and very easily, try to do certain things. Like we can have our own podcasts on the cloud. We can have our own, Moodle platform on our cloud. We can have very many such platforms where we can put resources at minimal cost. I mean, can that kind of a help also come in creating a project from your good office so that we can move in that direction? That is one very important point which is there in the mind of the IAPT, because we are trying to float IT groups also who can really take care of these. And we have a big resource, human resource, and they are very knowledgeable people. So please enlighten us on that aspect also.
In fact, it's very close to my heart. When I was the president of Delhi and Haryana chapter of IAPT, that time we had visualized the website of IAPT. You might have seen the IAPT RC1 website is there. And the structure of that website, if you see, you will find all these components there. Because it was, I think, in 2015 or so, that time we were not much talking about the online or something. That time I thought, because we are having a huge human resource with us, as you mentioned, retired people, working people, experts are there. They are creating resources. Even in our RC, we were creating resources. So I visualized that we should have a kind of portal. That can be a portal, and it can be a dynamic portal. It can be supported by the LMS also. I will suggest that if it can be supported by LMS, that will be good. Otherwise, even if not, we can have a dynamic portal with interactivity with the users and students. What component it can have? It can have good quality learning content in terms of text material, in terms of PowerPoints, in terms of video programs on topics, different topics, not so big program. Like this is a program which is almost 2-hour program. This kind of program, no student will be watching for 2 hours continuously. But if we are having a small clips of 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then categorize them, meta tagging them with the topics and the concepts, and those class wise also, if we can do. So that kind of resource we can create as a portal. And for that, we can create a certain minimum standards SOP also. Because if you want to bring all those resources on one portal, they should have certain uniformity in terms of presentation, uniformity in terms of duration, in terms of its quality, in terms of all those aspects. So certain minimum standard SOPs we can work out, IAPT can do, and we can float it among all RCs, can request them if they are developing a content, like on a certain topic in physics, they are developing something that we can post on this, and we can make it open to the students, even for the teachers, for updating. Like it can be a kind of a small Wikipedia of IAPT. I have seen, I think I had discussed with you also, this America's National Science Teachers Association. They are creating a variety of good resources. certain reports are there bringing out, like certain research reports, how the teachers are teaching, what are the good practices in teaching learning, innovative practices of teaching learning. We can bring out documents and can put on the portal. Students are willing to see certain good quality content, and if it is generated by the IAPT experts, then I think it will be authentic also. Similarly, the videos could be developed, podcasts could be developed, those who are having facility, or we can train them. We can invite expression of interest from the teachers, like whosoever is interested in creating podcast on a physics topics, they can come forward. We can take their names, like a 10, 15, 20, 50 people are there, and we can provide them a kind of a training, 1-day training, so that they can do, and can also help them in generating, developing those podcasts. Similarly, video programs. So this kind of training program, developing content and putting them on the portal. For that purpose, this dynamic interactive portal will have to create. You are mute.
I'd like to request RC01 to come forward with some kind of a proposal in this direction.
Yes, Secretary and President both are here.
Yeah, definitely, sir. We are planning, and we will soon come out.
Why I talked about cloud was that cloud these days is getting quite cheap also. And if it is getting cheaper, I think all those resources can be put in a very secure environment to be accessed by the various portals which we are thinking of, or the websites which we are thinking of. We have a very good website of IAPT, which is running for the last almost 12 years now. But I think we need to really carry it forward. And my request will be that if you have seen in my WhatsApp yesterday, I had started talking about IT group also. And Professor Sharma, I would really welcome if you please provide us the link to that association of
I'll do.
American Association, right? I think we can go there and start, because dialogue needs to be initiated. We must start talking. Sometimes in that talk, a lot of noise will also come, but then we should have filters also. So when I am requesting RC01, I am requesting that you please act as a filter and try to give us that kind of a project which can take us forward.
Yes,
so,
we'll do. Certainly we'll do.
Please, because I know that you are sitting at such a position that you can really help us crystallize that. And we have very dynamic RC01. I think every week RC01 is doing something. That's great.
Sure, sir.
Please come forward for that. And there is one question in the last also. I think Ma'am Alka Garg is here. And I would like to read that also, that talks about this only. I am Dr. Alka Garg from Gargi College. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us a lot of detailed information about NEP 2020. My question is, what do you mean by disruptive technologies, and whom I should approach for radio and podcasting of content related to undergraduate courses? I would like you to respond, sir.
Actually, disruptive technologies, when we talk about anything which is disrupting the existing thing, that could be like, for example, I was again and again talking about the evaluation system. Even the formal classroom setting, it is in many places online teaching has come in place of the formal classroom, but it is not entirely disrupted. But in terms of online examination, we need to find out certain technologies, so that particularly, you see, earlier the examinations for the IIT examinations were conducted in a formal setting. They were coming in a school, college, or sitting and giving exam on that OMR seat or in the answer sheets. But now you see what is happening now. Everything has switched over to the online. So that is a kind of disruption of the pen and pencil based examination system to the online examination system, and that has given that is with the help of technology. Technological use has made it a simple, user friendly, time saving, cost effective, and also see the results are immediately announced. So that is a kind of a disruption in the field of examination. I can give you an example simply, you can understand. And secondly, what was that she wanted to know? Podcast. For podcast and radio broadcast, in fact, there is not a formal kind of organization they provide training. People are taking this kind of initiative at their own. Like in our university, some of our faculty members, they have taken initiative. We are organizing certain programs, and but that I'm suggesting to Ahluwalia ji and also RC1, that we can plan this kind of training program, because what I had experienced during the last 2 years, these all technological skills, whatever we have learned, including me, they are at our own that we have learned. And the people who are using this technology for online classes, for our generating PowerPoint presentation, etc., they are learning at their own. But if they are provided certain kind of guidance, training, then I think they will be able to do much better, more effectively. Time will be saved, and then they can generate resources because they are expert in their field. They are expert in the field of science and physics. They want to develop certain PowerPoint presentation. They want to develop certain video programs. They have developed certain video program, but they don't know how to edit it. Some, like today's program, there was some interruption from my side, and there was, if you are able to edit that and then put on the portal, that is very easy, very simple. We all can do, but only the thing is, we need to provide a kind of training, certain guidance. So these initiatives we can take, and one of such initiative RC1 has already taken towards training the teachers for Arduino based innovative experiments, because that I had suggested Dr. Seema and Sejwani ji, we are providing this kind of programs, but why don't you make it a proper training program, training workshops, so that people, those who are serious to learn something, they will come forward, and when they learn, they will be giving it back to the society, giving back to their children. Otherwise, if you are making efforts and people are coming, joining, and then doing nothing after that program, may not be effective. Similarly, for the technology-based ICT tools, use of ICT tools in teaching learning, we can plan training workshops, maybe free, maybe paid, and can invite some external experts also. Some experts maybe from amongst us who are watching us right now, or maybe some others also. And we can plan training program. It can be a series of program, and not only for the RC1, it can be for the entire country. The people from any RC can participate, because this technology has made it possible. We can do. So this kind of effort can be done.
There only one last question.
Yes,
Professor A.G. Kulkarni has raised his hand. Let us listen to him also. Professor Kulkarni, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Unmute yourself, sir.
I want to say that learning and teaching is a transaction. The learning and teaching being a transaction, I want to say that we have been talking about the issue of teaching, that is teaching as well as creating the material for teaching. Now, what about the learner's perspective? The learner doesn't know what to learn and how to learn. How do we decide about it? We tend to think that the learner knows, or is capable enough to know what to learn and how to learn. If we do not develop the learner appropriately, there will not be a proper transaction. So my question to the honorable speaker is it our responsibility to develop the learner as well? I feel that learning development should also be taken up only by the teachers, because teacher is on the higher end of the side and the learner is on the lower end. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. In fact, when I was talking about the challenges of online learning, that time I had highlighted two things. One was the learning divide. This learning divide is basically that what you are right now talking. Teacher is teaching from his or her end. They are trying to give best from their side. But what is happening at the end of the student, that is still a challenge, and for the online learning, we'll have to address it. researches are being conducted. People are doing some sort of work in this direction, but that needs to be addressed properly. Similarly, the question of like what I said in the case of that was when a student engaging these students, because we are conducting online classes. What is doing a student at his or her end, engage them in the teaching learning process. But these all things we are able to do easily in the classroom teaching. If any student is doing some mischievous things and is indisciplined or not paying attention, then teacher is just in a proper command of that. They take care of that accordingly. They take action, and also they take that testing also in between. So these are some challenges. Certainly, no doubt they cannot be replaced. But yes, with the help of AI and other things, I think some possibilities can be explored. Right now, I don't have answer for these, but these are the things which we all have to address jointly.
My only issue is how do we develop the learning propensity of the student? The student may come and say that I want to learn, but whether he can learn and how much he can learn, how do we assess that? This is a question. The learning propensity seems to be different or less than required. The issue is to address that.
Yes,
Thank you.
I agree that is need to be addressed.
Yeah.
So I think Munishji, we can.
Yes, you're right. I think we have taken all the questions. So
may I say just for 30 seconds, maybe 50, maybe 10 seconds?
Okay, Ranjan sir, please.
Okay. I just want to share my experience that we should think of creating some special classrooms, uh, special classroom studios, at least 1-2 classroom studios in each school and university or university department. In the beginning, like the where I am teaching now in KU, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, we have separate building and there are well-equipped classrooms. I mean, with projectors, with you can say digital boards and everything. So the teacher just go to the classrooms and teach the students. They are well equipped. I mean, AC and everything. So I mean, creating such environment at first place at small scale will really help the students also and teachers also creating and learning e-learning. And we have seen that the students' learning outcomes have really improved a lot. I mean, after the pandemic, when we went to the classrooms, everybody was forced to, I mean, kind of, he was in a mode to teach electronically. He was using slides, he was using videos also. So the students' learning outcome has really improved a lot. So in the beginning, we can think of few classrooms to be set up like studios, and then later on it can be updated. That's my just suggestion. Thank you so much.
You are right, perfectly right. In fact, if we are talking about blending of online learning with the formal classroom system, this kind of setup is required. I had seen in Canada in 2007, there was a setup system of teaching learning, like a similar kind of classroom was there, fully digitized classroom having all digital facilities. Even the cameras were the voice responsive cameras.
Yes.
30 students were sitting in a classroom. Teacher was taking class on a smart board, and this teacher himself was editing also what should go on his screen and what should go on his screen on air also. Why I'm talking, that was the blending done at that time. Blending, some of the students were sitting in some other area at their home or some other setup, and some students were sitting in the classroom, and the teacher was same. And a student in the classroom, he or she wanted to ask something. As voice was on, the camera was pointed out towards him, and then the question was asked, and the boy was visible on the screen on air also to the student sitting at another place. And there was a system. I hope it will be continuing with some improvement also at the moment. A student can take admission in formal system. They can take class in an online class. They can take class in formal system. They can study in the distance learning system also. They were free to choose. Admission is a one. but they can take classes in any setup, whatever is convenient to them. Only the thing was the schedule was informed to them that on this particular day, and because that was online, so the student knew that at this particular time my class of physics is going to be conducted by so and so. I have to attend, whether I have to go to my classroom physically or I will be attending online from somewhere. Online I have that laptop or something, teacher is there, and what is, if PowerPoint presentation is going on screen, that we student is able to see, classroom student is also able to see. When we are talking about similar kind of setup in our country for implementation of NEP, then I think this suggestion is very good. We'll have to create this kind of, they can be studio based classrooms, where things are being broadcast, telecast in a live mode. They are being aired, student can attend from anywhere. But question is, now in our country, the other end, the student who is sitting in a remote area, they are not having that facility. They can, school is providing that facility, they are providing live classes, student also can interact, they can ask questions online, but the still that digital divide is there. This infrastructural problem is there, but it can be experimented. It is in our system we did, in IGNOU we did, what we did, I created in my center, National Center for Innovation Distance Education, in 2018, a small studio without any kind of jargons of studio, light, site, etc. Simply one that light was placed on the system which I was using, or my people were using. We use that light, LED light, and then camera was basically used, that systems camera, and we were conducting classes. And that time these all apps were not there. We were providing live classes to the students all over the country. This was a mini studio, and live classes were there. Some students who could attend there, they were there. Otherwise, all students were at their end. They were interacting through chat, not live. It was not two-way video. It was one-way video, but interactive through. So, but now in the changed scenario, it can be done in this kind of setup, like a small studio can be developed with these all facilities, and it is not very costly. It is very cost effective these days. Things are very cheaper. Technology has developed so much. So it is neat. It should be done.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Opi Sharma ji, for your lecture. So in your lectures, you have mentioned that NEP is not only the game changer for the online or distance learning, but it is for any mode of learning. And it is going to revamp education system in India. You have explained relevance of online learning in Indian context, and have given very good comparison of online education before and after the COVID-19 pandemic. Especially you have mentioned that there is a sudden increase in edtech startup and companies. You have explained NEP recommendation for technology use and
sir, you are on mute, Manish sir.
I'm sorry, I have not seen that one. Thank you, Professor Opi Sharma, for your lecture. In your lecture, you have mentioned that NEP is not only the game changer for online distance learning, but it is for any mode of teaching. It is going to revamp education system in India. You have explained relevance of online learning in Indian context. You have given very good comparison of online education system for before and after the COVID-19 pandemic. Especially you have mentioned that there is a sudden increase in edtech startup and companies. You have explained NEP recommendation for technological use and integration. NEP 2020 recommend for creation of National Education Technology Forum as a platform for free exchange of idea in utilization of technology to exchange learning, enhancement, planning, and administration, etc. You pointed out the challenges in online learning in India and government initiative to promote online learning. Finally, you mentioned that digital university will come into the picture to boost the online education system. With these words, let me thank Professor P. Sharma ji for enlightening us with this talk. And now I invite Dr. Yogesh Kumar, Secretary, IAPT, RC1, Delhi and Haryana, to propose the vote of thanks at the end.
Thank you, Manish sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah. So good afternoon,
योगेश
everyone.
जी मेरा वीडियो ऑफ हो गया है.
सर आपका वीडियो ऑफ है. जस्ट
नहीं आपका आप बोलिए योगेश जी, कंटिन्यू.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. I Yogesh Kumar, Secretary IAPT RC Delhi Haryana. Honored to have an opportunity to give a vote of thanks on this event. On behalf of entire IAPT RC1 and JNU, I thank Professor Prakash Sharma, Director IC NCIDE IGNO, from the bottom of my heart for taking time from his busy schedule to be an eminent speaker at our online lecture series. Everyone present at the occasion is not only awe of your knowledge, but also greatly impressed by your presentation, sir. Your bright idea and comforting guidance has a great positive impact on the audience. Thank you, sir, for this informative talk and wise words. I thank our respected chief guest, Professor S.K. Tomar, Vice Chancellor, YMCA, Faridabad, who graced us with his presence and guidance. Sir, indeed, your word have inspired the audience. There is so much to learn from your knowledge and experience. I extend my special thanks to Professor P.K. Ahluwalia, President IAPT, for giving welcome address and express his views on the event. I also like to acknowledge him for his enormous cooperation and guidance in the organization of this event. I would also like to show my gratitude to Dr. Pavan K. Kuleria, SPS JNU, and Dr. Seema Vats, President IAPT, for introducing these speakers. Moreover, I have been fortunate enough to work with a team of very motivated and dedicated members, Professor Kedar Singh, Professor Manish Kashyap, Professor Ram Sagar Mishra, Dr. Ram Prasad Prajapati, Dr. Pavan Kulriya, Dr. Vijay Goyal, Dr. Rekha Ghorpade, Dr. Seema Vats, Dr. Poonam Jain. I extend my sincere thanks to them for their help in organization of this event. It is only because of their generosity this program is a success. I also wish to extend my special thanks to all distinguished speakers present here. Last but not least, thank you very much for all the participants for your unwavering attention throughout this lecture. Big thanks to our audience for sparing their valuable time. Thank you so much, all of you. Over to Manish, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Yogesh ji, for presenting the vote of thanks. So with this, we end today's lecture series. And for the next Saturday, we will meet again. We will have a new speaker, new chief guest in our 4th lecture of the lecture series next Saturday. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining with us today. With this, we close our meeting.
Thank you very much to all.
Thank you. Thank you to all.
Thank you, OP sir, for